Here's the deal. Sales isn't about pushing harder, talking faster, or flooding inboxes. That's noise, not strategy. Real business development? It's about presence, precision, and knowing exactly how the room feels before you open your mouth. Jake Stahl, author of Own the Room, How to Communicate to Be Seen, Heard, and Respected, has spent over 30 years training teams across 6 countries and 47 states, teaching solopreneurs how to turn conversations into conversion. Known as the mind mechanic, people who have been trained by him say he has the uncanny ability to break down human behavior and rebuild it into real, repeatable influence. This is where communication becomes your unfair advantage. Welcome to Own the Room with Jake Stahl.
This is Own the Room, and we're back with an Ask Me Anything episode. Jake, are you ready to dive into some of the questions that came into our inbox this week?
Oh, John, I love this. This is great. Yeah, hit me with it. Let's do it.
3 solopreneurs specifically that we're going to touch on their questions. And we start with Lisa, who's asking Jake how to build a predictable client pipeline. And this is something that we all struggle with as solopreneurs. She says, "Hey guys, I'm killing it when I get clients, but the problem is the pipeline dries up and sometimes I panic. I'm the only one running my business and it's hard to keep the leads flowing consistently. What's your advice for creating steady, predictable client flow without burning out?" Really appreciate any guidance. That's from Lisa. Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, see, this is a common misconception. So when she said she's killing it with her current clients, that is the key right there. So if you're killing it with current clients, there is no reason you shouldn't be asking for referrals. So often when we really do great with a client and then the contract is over, we just cut ties. And the fact is, referrals should be the largest part of your business development. And John, the referral request is pretty simple. I hear so many people say it feels uncomfortable. Oh, I don't know if I want to ask. Well, if you don't know what you want to ask, you're not going to get new business, right? So let's make this simple. Paint this scenario and then ask for the request. So let's say that a client hires me and they want to increase close rate by 20%. So we get there, we do the consulting, I coach them, we increase their close rate by 20%. Actually, if I coach them, it'd probably be closer to increasing it by 50%. So,
Of course.
but then at the end of that, I say, listen, there are a couple of things I do. One is increase close rate by 50%. Another is I help eliminate sales scripts altogether. And the third is I really get your salespeople thinking like the prospect and talking like the prospect so that the entire messaging really hits home with the prospect. If you're talking with colleagues of yours and anybody else is running into that, would you do me a favor and mention my name? So it's very simple. You're reinforcing what you do. You're reinforcing what you did for them. And you're saying when you're talking to other people, if something comes up like that, will you mention my name? Simple follow-up, right?
Easy referral request, yes.
It is. Now, I can already hear the audience saying this. Well, you didn't ask for 2 or 3 people. You didn't ask for names. No, you didn't. And the reason for that is really simple. You want to get them thinking about who those people are, and you want to get them just starting to formulate in their head how they're going to reach out. As soon as you start saying, can you give me 3 today? Can you reach out for me? Now you're in a sales pitch and the whole conversation takes a different turn. So once I say that to them, I'm going to say, and when you refer them, would you please say that you sent them so I can use your name when I reach back out? John, 100% of my business is referrals.
100%?
100% of my business is referrals. And when I'm at a networking meeting and somebody says, well, if you're 100% referrals, that's not good. that was being spoken by somebody who's not getting referrals.
Right. Not getting enough anyway, because if they're 100% referrals, now they're not getting enough business. But if you're getting enough business from referrals, what's the problem with that?
Yeah, and there's no reason you shouldn't be getting most of your business, if not all of it, from referrals. But Lisa, here's the advice. If you are killing it with clients and you're not asking for other business or for referrals, you are missing a huge, huge piece of your business development.
Okay, so this is the interesting thing, because I think what she's also saying is, since she's the only one running her business, that presents as a challenge, because it feels like as solopreneurs, we're wearing so many different hats. We're doing like 3 or 4 at least full-time jobs in one full-time role. So is asking for referrals also a way to alleviate that, and so you feel less like the sales manager of your own sole proprietorship and more like just somebody who doesn't have to take a lot of time to do cold reach out and sales?
That's an excellent point, John. And the answer is yes. So if you want to try and cut down on your cold reach out, if you want to talk to only warm leads, and this is even cutting down on your marketing a little bit, right? Because you're only going towards clients that are ready to hire you for your services. So when I ask for a referral, if I don't hear something from them within a week, I will send them an email that says, "Hey, Joe, thought of you the other day when I saw this article, wanted to pass it along."
Mhm.
I'm getting back to the top of their mind. I'm not asking for the referrals, but I can absolutely make you the promise. What they're thinking is, I promised Jake some referrals, and
Yep,
he was cool enough to send me this article. I want to reciprocate. Let me get right on that.
yep.
And before somebody says that doesn't work, it's worked for me for 13 years.
Mm.
So if it doesn't work, it means that you're not pursuing it and you're not doing the right things when it comes to asking for referrals.
And that's okay. So it's all about using that formula that you just spoke about, which feels less salesy and more just conversational, right? You just want to bring this up almost casually and then remind them, not necessarily by poking them again and asking them for referrals, but just getting back to the top of their minds.
Yeah. And John, there's really two other ways to get people to want to give you a referral. The first is introduce them to somebody. So, hey, John, I know this guy who's also looking for podcasting business. So I wanted to introduce the two of you. That's going to stimulate the reciprocity.
Yeah.
And the other way is, and this is something I almost never see done, but it is so potent, is go on the client's LinkedIn and write a recommendation for them.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Wow.
that pops up on your LinkedIn, John. It says, "Hey, Jake wrote a recommendation for you on LinkedIn." All of those things are non-salesy ways to remind them that they owe you introductions and referrals.
So all of this is really just triggering reciprocity.
Well said. That is exactly right.
We've talked about that on previous episodes too, and that is such a key concept, and it keeps coming up over and over again. This whole idea of reciprocity.
Yeah, and it's funny because if anybody in the audience has ever read The Go-Giver, it
Mm.
is one of the best books ever written, and it was so highly acclaimed that 4 other Go-Giver books came out. So the popularity of the Go-Giver mentality is staggering, and it can work for you. The problem is, John, that people look for that quick hit. I'm going to send out 1,000 emails and I'm going to get 400 clients and I'm going to close them tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. This is a long game, baby. You got to settle in, do the right things over and over again, and I promise it will happen.
That's right. And Lisa, if you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe burned out, we've all been there as solopreneurs. I
Oh my
promise you,
God, yes.
you're not the first one to feel that way. See, even
Yeah.
Jake's been there.
Yeah,
But
I'm there a couple of times a day. So, yes.
But referrals are a great solution to that. So consider that for sure, Lisa. Hopefully that was helpful. And thanks for DMing us up on LinkedIn. We also got one from Tom, Jake. I don't know if you know Tom, but he reached out to you and he was asking the podcast about pricing anxiety. This is such
Oh,
a
this
good
is a big one.
He said, "Hey, Jake, I love what I do and the results I deliver, but I find myself undercharging because I'm scared of losing clients. I worry that if I raise my prices, I'll push people away or my offers won't seem worth it. How do I build confidence to price my services appropriately without feeling pushy?" Thanks, Tom. So, what do you think, Jake?
All right. So, Tom, I want you to hear me, and I want you to hear me good. It is never, ever about price. Ever. Period. That end of story. It is never about price. And as solopreneurs, we think if we just discount enough or if we lowball our competitors, that's the answer. And the reality is, it is almost exactly the opposite. Let me tell you a story, Tom. And this is a true story, and I'm going to mangle it a little bit, so you might want to look this up online just to get the true facts. But the long and short of it is, a gentleman had a jewelry store, and he sold pearls. And one day he found a black pearl. And what wound up happening was he tried to sell it. And he thought, nobody's going to buy this thing. Who wants a black pearl? Everybody loves the white pearls. So he priced it really low. And he could not get rid of it. So he priced it lower. And he still couldn't get rid of it. So he thought, well, let's try the opposite. So he marked it as rare. He marked it way, way, way higher than the white pearls. And he sold it. This is perceived value. So, Tom, if you're going at this from a pricing perspective and you lowball a price, what are you having people perceive about your value? This takes guts, though. And I'm not pretending it doesn't, because we all think, oh my God, the lowest price is going to win. If the lowest price won, there would be no luxury cars. There would be no $40 million mansions. There would be nothing but super low price items that are out there. And Tom, from the time you were young, you've heard the saying, you get what you pay for. Price yourself exactly where you want to be priced. Offer more value than the price tag shows, and talk with confidence. And I can promise you that the business will follow.
That's that's so counterintuitive because as much as we love to hear that, we still have this ingrained, the lower we go, the better. And I don't know where that comes from, but for solopreneurs, I feel like that's so real. Any tips on how to change your mindset around that? That story was helpful, but how can we actually adjust our mindset to maybe get rid of that nagging feeling that we have to go lower?
Yeah, this is truly a mindset change. There's no question about it. And the reality is, there's this saying that, you'll believe it when you see it. But there's also the reality of you'll see it when you believe it. So part of it is just making your messaging really potent. So anywhere it's on the website or anywhere you're promoting it, you need to show such huge value for the price tag that you're doing that it just seems like an obvious choice. And John, let me give you an example. Let's say, John, that you're hiring a maid service. And you find a maid service that's $1,000 a visit, $100 a visit, or $5 a visit. Which one are you going to choose?
1,000, 105. I think I'd go with 100
Okay, so why wouldn't you choose the 1,000?
because there's an opportunity to get it for cheaper. And 1,000 sounds like a lot for a maid service.
Okay, but I mean, there's $5. That's about as cheap as it gets. Why wouldn't you choose that one?
Yeah, but what are they going to do for $5?
So what you're saying is the low price is indicative of the value you expect.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would reasonably put out a $5 price tag and then come in and do a great job. I wouldn't.
So there's something to be said for the perceived value that's taking place. And this is another way, Tom, for you to deal with your pricing. You do a low tier, a mid tier, and a high tier. And the whole idea is that most people will pick the middle tier. So take the price you want to sell it at, make that your middle tier, make a higher tier that offers way, way, way more service than you've ever offered before, but put a premium price tag on it, and then offer an entry value. Because remember, people anchor on a price tag. So if I can anchor a person high, like I did with John saying the $1,000 value first, anything I say below that afterwards is going to look more appealing. So pricing isn't just about confidence or changing a mindset, it's how you present it and make it part of your value. And once you get somebody at your price tag once, those confidence floodgates will open right up and you'll never stop doing it.
We had our roof done last year, Jake, and we had salespeople come to the door from this particular company. We won't name names here on the show, but this company is very well known in Western New York. They have a catchy jingle and they have very pushy salespeople. And what they did, though, was pretty smart. They came up to our door and they started talking to us about metal roofs and the importance of metal roofs. I don't know. My wife thinks they're ugly, so it's out of the question to begin with. But metal roofs apparently cost like $60,000. So they
Oh,
were talking
man.
about all the benefits of metal roofs and why we should maybe consider a $60,000 metal roof. And then after we declined, because my wife thinks they're ugly and because of the price tag, but my wife thinking they're ugly was a nice way out of that. Then they started saying, okay, well, you know, your regular roof, it's only going to cost you about $19,000. Now, I don't know about you, but for a house our size, $19,000 is still a significant price tag. But boy, did that feel approachable after they led with the $60,000 metal roof.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's sort of the same concept of price anchoring. And you often say, Jake, what is the phrase? I don't want to butcher it and steal the words out of your mouth, but it's something along the lines of sell the ridiculous to get the acceptable.
That's exactly right. Sell the ridiculous to get the acceptable. Yeah. And that's what they did, John. They anchored you to $60,000 so that when they brought in the middle price tag, they're like, my God, that's much better. That's closer to what I was thinking. Now, did they have a lowest price one? Did they have one that was even lower yet?
Well, what they did, they didn't really follow the tier model, but then they started offering other discounts
Ah,
in certain ways that were going to make it even lower than that. So it's like you
yeah.
won't even believe. And and I don't think their whole sales model was great. I think they fell short in other areas because their urgency and pushiness and extreme follow-up strategies where they continued to offer discounts. They didn't follow up and offer value. They just followed up and pushed and pushed and pushed. So I don't think their whole sales process was great, but I thought that one tactic was very interesting and potentially effective.
So, John, this is where to me sales becomes offensive. And Tom, don't do this. But this is where it becomes offensive is it gets to the point where if you are so uncertain or insecure about your product that you have to keep hammering people with pressure and discounts, and if your sales process is so locked into this script, I'm guessing they're probably closing 20% of the people that they talk to.
Yeah.
And listen to me, close window company. If you're only closing 20%, you're horrible. You should be reevaluating everything you do. How's that for a public service announcement?
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't settle for a low close rate, right? You talk about that all the time where it's like we base our goals this year on our results last year. It's like,
Yeah.
well, why not raise your close rate? That would work wonders too.
Yeah. I have a friend of mine who just started selling for a window company. So they sell storm windows. And they were saying that they set like 10 appointments in a day, and only about 2 of them follow through on the actual appointment.
Mm.
And this is buyer's remorse. This happens when somebody is so forced into a corner that they say yes to only back out later. And if your process is so pushy and so reliant on these psychological tricks, then you're going to have a preciously low close rate like that. And yet this window company applauds that. 20% close rate. Oh my God, yay.
Wow.
You shouldn't be. You really
Yeah.
shouldn't be. So, Tom, do a pricing model, do it based on your services, settle on a price that you want, not one that's going to lowball, and let your services speak for themselves.
Yeah, let us know, Tom, how that goes, because I know that's something that all solopreneurs have struggled with at some point.
Yeah.
Probably even Jake, right?
Oh my God, yes.
And you're the guy who knows this stuff. So, Tom, let us know how it goes, and maybe if things work out for you, which we know they will. Solopreneurs go through this all the time. Then let us know, and we'd love to hear your success story with pricing too. I know I go through that all the time myself as a solopreneur. So, thanks, Tom, for reaching out. And one more LinkedIn DM we got, and Sarah dropped you a line, Jake. She was talking about marketing. Okay, Sarah, I'm not sure. Jake's not like the marketing guru. I mean, we've had a
Yeah,
couple
that's not
on
my
the show.
lane, but we can take a shot at it, John.
It's still solopreneur pain point for
Yeah,
sure.
right.
And we could probably learn from this too. She says she's a solopreneur trying to grow my coaching business, but honestly, I feel overwhelmed. There's so many marketing tactics, emails, socials, ads, referrals, etc. I'm not sure what to prioritize. Every day I'm spinning my wheels, my results aren't showing. How do I cut through the noise online and focus only on what truly moves the needle? And that's from Sarah.
All right, Sarah, first of all, let me say again what John said already. Marketing is not my lane, but I am more than willing to take a shot at something that may be helpful. So, my advice, Sarah, is to start networking in a very intentional way to get your customers, because you're relying on marketing expenditure and you're relying on probably AI and automated marketing to get your message out. And I don't want to take anything away from that, but I know as a solopreneur, I have to watch every dollar I spend. So, in your case, Sarah, I probably wouldn't want to be spending a lot of money on LinkedIn reach outs and things like that. So, here's my advice: find 5 people that are as invested in your success as you are. And my guess is, Sarah, that you know who those 5 people are already. With each of those people, tell them what you do and just ask them for 2 introductions. It doesn't have to be for people that are looking for business. It could just be business owners. It could be anything you want it to be. And when you talk to those business owners, reach out and just say, I'm a solopreneur, I'm a coach, I'm looking to grow my business. I'd love to get some advice. And John, we've talked about this on our shows before. Asking advice is the highest form of flattery.
Yes.
So ask them for advice. And when you're on the phone with them, say, listen, I'm looking for clients that are looking for A, B, C, and D. I don't want to do the marketing, but I really want to grow my coaching business. What advice do you have? And let those people help you. And then ask them for 2 similar introductions. So, hey, could you guide me to 2 other people that wouldn't mind giving me some advice and time? Because what those people are doing is A, they're already warm leads. They're already people that know you and have been introduced to you. So they have a vested interest in helping you succeed. But B, because they want to help you succeed, they're going to be willing to introduce you to people.
Hmm.
Now, John, quick math will say if you do this with everybody, if you keep asking one person for 2 introductions, then those 2 introductions for 2 introductions, within a year, you're going to have been introduced to approximately 400 people.
Wow.
And all 400 of those people now know your name and what you do. And they're probably talking to other people about you. So, Sarah, the pushback I always get on this model is this is a slow play, right? You're not getting business tomorrow. You may not be getting it the next day. But what I can tell you is that this will pan out for you in spades more than trying to do an automated reach out to 1,000 people or doing cold reach outs, anything like that. I have somebody who just got me business that referred me that I coached 15 years ago.
Wow.
So these things do pay off sometimes in time. The downside to this, Sarah, is this is a KPI you cannot measure. So if I talk to Sally and Sally goes, yeah, I'd love to help, I have no idea how many people Sally's talking to. I have no idea how many of those people Sally talked to are talking to other people. So this takes kind of a leap of faith. But I will tell you the top consultants and coaches I know do not do mass reach out. They follow this methodology. And as they work with clients, the same advice we gave Lisa earlier, as you work with clients and they're happy, ask for referrals. You will find business development gets immeasurably easier, but you got to put in the work now.
It's amazing. 15 years went by.
Yeah.
Like, you were in high school back then, weren't you?
Oh, I love you so much. God, high school is 40 years behind me.
But in all seriousness, it's amazing what building those relationships. I'd like to call it, I just am making this up on the spot, but it's kind of like the compounding interest of networking, right?
Yeah.
Talked about that 400 number, and it doesn't seem like 5 connections to start out can make such a big deal, but you know those 5 people in your life,
Yeah.
and then you go from there. Now, this is different because people think of marketing as marketing and networking as networking. They're like
Right.
2 different lines, but you just answered a marketing question with networking advice. Are you saying networking can, in some ways, replace marketing or just be the most effective form of it?
I don't think it'll replace it because marketing covers things like branding, advertising, things like that. So I don't want to say that, hey, scrap all your marketing and just do networking. But usually the reason, and I'm assuming this, Sarah, but usually the reason people want to market is to get more business. My suggestion is do intentional networking to get that business. And later on, when you build your income and have enough money to spend on marketing, then do that. But this is why I put in the disclaimer earlier that I'm not a marketing guy, but I'm more than happy to weigh in on the topic.
Well, it sounds like Sarah is struggling with something a lot of solopreneurs struggle with, and that's the idea of trying to be everywhere at once. This FOMO of, oh, there's this new thing called Threads. The hell is Threads? I still don't even know what Threads is. Something about some new platform that came out.
Oh,
There's TikTok. Oh, but I still got to stay up on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and all the classic ones. Should I be on Snapchat? It feels like everybody, all the kids are on Snapchat. Like all of these different platforms, we have this FOMO. Like if we miss out on one, we're therefore missing out on this large segment of business. Is this the type of thing that's more quality over quantity?
well, I will say this, John. I just had Christy Mitchell on not long ago, who is a marketing specialist. And if you haven't heard the show, folks, go back and listen to it because she's very strong opinions on this. But Christy's advice was pretty simple. It's pick one or two social media platforms and do them right. Do
Yeah,
not spread yourself over 30 platforms. But so I don't put words in Christy's mouth, please go back to that episode and listen to what Christy has to say because, like I said, she had some very strong opinions about marketing and doing this. And I would trust Christy's advice on that way more than I would trust my own.
agreed. Yeah, but that's, yeah, Christie's awesome, and that was solid advice. But I think that stands as something good if you're if that's one of the things you were asking, Sarah. You didn't explicitly ask it, but it seemed like it was part of your question. You talk about spinning your wheels and being overwhelmed, not being able to keep up. That's such a relatable feeling as a solopreneur, oftentimes because we're trying to be everywhere at once instead of focusing on that one or two platforms. Like for me, it's LinkedIn. Jake, I know you got a team around you, so you got a few different ones going on, but a lot of people, it's just that one platform where your target client hangs out. That's great. And then you talk about spending some intentional time networking.
Yeah, and listen, in my opinion, and some marketers may disagree, and if they do, I'd suggest you write into the show and please correct me because I don't know everything. But LinkedIn is usually a good place for coaches to go to be
Yep.
posting and pay real close attention to what they're doing because that's really the marketplace they belong in. I would yield to whatever a marketer would say about what's a second one they could do, like Instagram or Facebook. I don't really know. But I would think, Sarah, that LinkedIn would probably be one platform you'd want to pay pretty close attention to.
That's a good point. She is a coach. So yeah, great point, Jake. And I know you've done coaching consulting, so you probably are really good, really good person to answer this for Sarah.
Yeah, I live on LinkedIn, so
And don't sell yourself short too. I know you don't have that marketing training, but I think that was pretty solid advice.
hey, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Sarah, for dropping us a line up on LinkedIn. And she's already on LinkedIn. She sent you a DM, so that's a good start, Sarah. And then for you, if you'd like to get your question answered, we get a bunch of these, but we'll sift through some of the ones that are the most valuable potentially to the audience. And let's face it, if you're a solopreneur facing an issue, you're likely not the only one. So let us know about it up on LinkedIn. Just drop Jake a DM, and we'll hopefully cover it on our next Ask Me Anything episode here on Own the Room.
And John, I understand that we're going to be doing 2 Ask Me Anything episodes a month now. Is that correct?
That's right. So every other week, once every 2 weeks. So if you get your question in, we'll try to get it featured on the next AMA or maybe the one after that. But just stay locked to Own the Room up on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you consume your podcasts, whether you're watching the video version or listening to the audio. And we'll definitely hopefully get your questions up and answered by Jake.
All right.
Thanks for checking out Own the Room today. And Jake, always a pleasure talking with you and hopefully helping some other people out with their solopreneur pain points.
Yes. Thank you, John. I'm looking forward to future episodes.
Thanks for checking out Own the Room with Jake Stahl. If you've gotten value from this episode, share it with the solopreneur in your life who wants to know how to communicate to be seen, heard, and respected. Review and rate the show wherever you check out podcasts. And grab your copy of Own the Room, How to Communicate to be Seen, Heard, and Respected. We'll catch you next week on Own the Room.